There are several universities today that have, family business and family wealth, studies within within their campuses. Many years ago, 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, that didn't exist. So for, guys like you and I, people like you and I who, ended up working with either family businesses or families of wealth, there had to be a twisting, turning road to get there, in my opinion. Not always, but we'd love to hear your background. How did you, where did you start? How did you end up doing the work that you're doing today?
So, Mike, it's a great question because you and I are both so used to being in the space and thinking about these kinds of things. And it's important for us to realize that it's a relatively new thing. I was born a rabbi's kid, so it's a little bit different, but it came from a prominent family. I start the book actually with a cute story about being in the sanctuary and somebody, a little kid, popping up his head and saying, "Mom, is that God?" And crawling under the seat behind me and going, "Well, no, that's my dad." And so I can understand what it must have been like being Marty's son. About 15 years ago, my wife, who came from a business owning family, her parents died 35 days apart from each other. And there had been a generation before that had a family business. When that business ended, everybody stopped talking to each other and nobody went to the funerals. And we had to make sure we were going to have that happen in our family. So that was really the beginning of the work. And as I began to work with Rising Gen, I always noticed that there was kind of, when you're a psychologist by background, you sort of pick up on things even before people start talking. And I always noticed that there was some impact of growing up in a prominent family. And I figured, might as well ask. So I met Russ Hayworth, from the UK, who's also got a podcast. Everybody's got a podcast. And Russ and I started interviewing Rising Gen and family members and asking them a simple question, which was, what's it like growing up in the land of giants? And guess what? Nobody asked us what we meant by giants. They immediately said, yeah, Marty's my giant, and the range was huge because the oldest was about a 450-year-old company.
Okay.
And there still were giants along the road. So that's kind of how I got into this whole pursuit.
Gotcha. And so your background, you come from a psychology background, psychiatry background. Did I catch that?
Yeah, I'm a psychologist by background.
Okay.
And in the last, I think it's almost 20 years, I've been doing family business consulting. Got
it. Okay. I love it. Thank you. So how many, we talk about doing interviews, approximately how many people did you interview? Do you mind me asking?
Well, let's not do approximately. It was 25 people.
Okay.
From around the globe. So Indonesia, Chicago, Costa Rica. And I don't know if I did anybody from Rochester, New York, though. Anyways, and the range, so the oldest person that I interviewed at the time was 75 years old, and he was looking back on the experience. He was part of the Kaiser family, which at one point was one of the largest and wealthiest families in the country.
Okay.